just let me just change the properties of my capital command window. Now, what I wanted to show is that there is a command called jar. Okay, so I'll actually jar bundles. It is like zipping tool. Okay, so now what I'll do is bin, right? Okay. I have classes here, so jar minus avf start. See, what did I do just now? I did something called jar minus CVF. Then I said I gave a name, training.jar as space start. That actually means that I am bundling, I am using this particular tool to create a zip file or jar file in Java, and you must be knowing this particular tool. Let me go to where I actually made this change. See, look at this. Look at this folder now. I can pretty much see this here, right? The training.jar, and let me open, that with the zipping tool. Unfortunately, there is no mapping. I need to explicitly open it. Now, let me see. See here, what I see is that all the files are available here. Okay. So, and all the class files, especially when I'm bundling, when you write your code and you want to give it to someone else to use it as a user, not to look at the Java code, what you will do is you will generally send the jar files, that class files. So, you bundle them as a jar. Java stands for Java archive. Okay. So, how do we really use them? If I am using, I'll actually show you my other project, how this is really using it. See here, I just right click on the project, okay, properties, and then there is something called Java build path, and see here, there is something called libraries. There is something called libraries. You see here tab. There is something called source folder, where you think that whatever is if you have multiple folders in your code that contain source code, you specify the source code folders. Okay. For now, always it is the SRC folder, so it is pretty much fine. But as your application grows big, you will have different folders where your Java code will be. In the sense, the source folder is all about which packages contain your root code. In the sense, which folder contain a folder called com dot, the com. your package will start with com or like org, right? All the containing folders, all the containers having this com or org folders in them, then they become source folders. So many in case of a complex projects, then this list will increase. To start with, Eclipse by default will have only one project, only one folder, and to actually like how I'll show you how we can actually increase. Okay, I have other folders as well in the Eclipse, so I can say add folder, and maybe you select this particular thing. When I select this particular thing called resources, and that also becomes resources also becomes a source folder. I'll remove it because that is not a Java folder for me. And the libraries, what I'm actually doing is, see here what we do, add external jar. Now you can look at, if I want to add, you can go to, when this opens a Windows Explorer, you can look at, point to any folder in your computer where you have some jar file shared, and you select, earlier I actually like, it remembered what was my last action. I did add some, JSP and servlet related, this particular things I guess. So these jars, so it remembered that, maybe what I'll just add Catalina. So what happens is this Catalina will have, this jar file will have some n number of classes. Like just now I have shown you how we can do that manually, how to create jar file manually. Jar minus, the command is jar minus CVF. Oops. Okay, jar minus help. Yeah, see here, you get jar. Okay, you type some wrong command, it was giving help. Says there are various options is that I can give jar, the command that I gave was CVF. C stands for create a new archive. Okay, and where is V? V stands for generate verbose output on the standard output. So that is the reason it was giving a lengthy description about adding this file, adding that file kind of thing. F, specify archive file name. F means giving a specific file name. So you can maybe if I don't give say suppose V, or like let me do this. If I don't give V, what happens is, I don't see too much of, and I don't see any output. But whereas when I add that particular thing, okay, this is similar to any other command. In if you are familiar with Linux, then most of the time people work with commands. But then such as this is the what you call Java archiving mechanism. Okay, how do I really do this in Eclipse? Now you understood that where we how we use the libraries. This is also, there is also another mechanism called class path. How many of you are aware of class path? Did I really discuss this or not? Class path. Okay. So I'll talk about that. Class path. I mean, path variable, right? How many of you know something called environment variable? No? Okay, no problem. I hope you must be knowing about a variable called environment variables. Where you will get is that, if you are using Windows XP, then it is right click on the My Computer and properties will take you to this particular pop-up. Because this is a Windows 7 box, so I need to click on the advanced system properties. Now here within the advanced, within the advanced tab, you have something called environment variables. Okay, environment variables are nothing but they are especially I'll talk about path. When I type something like, say suppose notepad, a notepad application is open, right? Now, how is this actually happen? I type to say, I mean, is it something like, maybe, I type ABC, but ABC is not recognized as an internal or external command. It says an error. But when I type notepad, it is working. How? Means in the path actually is a collection of folder structures. What will happen is if I look at, this particular thing, what are the things that are there, that is, are like, let me open a path variable at the system level. That should have, let us look at, whatever, there are multiple folders, C colon, program files, PHP, C colon, Perl, C, Perl, bin, system root means C drive for me, and system 32, C drive, C colon, system 32, or C colon Windows, / system 32, that means, okay, there is a system 32.wbem, there are multiple folders, okay. So this path variable is nothing but it is a collection of folders where the system will be looking at, if you type something, it will try to look at whether there is any .exe file available or .batch file, .bat, okay, are available. This works like if you are buying some travel guide or or a route map, I don't know, okay, the road related routes related information, so that kind of information specific to the computer is given by path. So generally with the path variable we get we get only the if executables, Windows related executables, if they are found in the given folders, okay, of the path variable, then they will be executed. So when I type notepad, that is how it is getting executed. Similarly, if I want to actually like make my class files or my jar files available to any other application running in my computer, what I do is actually like what I will do is, where is my this properties? Yes, here in the advanced system settings or in your my computer properties, where is my pop-up window? So what I do is I can add a variable called, I'm not sure whether it is there or not. Okay, oops, there is no class variable here. But I just click add and say class path, and then you start giving the folders where you have stored your jar files separated by comma. Something like this. Separated by semicolon, you give another folders, okay. So not comma, semicolon. So then when you are running your application, that particular variables, the Java program will refer to class path variable, okay. Java program will refer to class path variables. Now also there is one more thing that I would like to discuss is, suppose now I have a jar file, I want to extract it. Now what I can do is minus xref see here, it did extract, it says inflated these files, and it actually like it shows how many files were there and it is unzipping. So it works like a regular zipping tool. Another thing with jar files is that you can use any regular zipping tool to extract files from jar, okay. So that is about generally like because we were talking about using various third-party jars, so there is a reason it happens. Also, I can show you some different type of exceptions that we don't create, but in my case, connection manager. See here, there is something called class not found exception. Class not found exception, and this particular logic, because we already looked at class and we know how to initialize an object, and I told you that there will be some sort of class loading. Someone loads that particular thing into there is a memory, and that happens when you try to do new. When you try to use new object, I mean class, say suppose my class object equal to new my class kind of stuff. When I am doing it, a class loader will try to see if this is there already loaded or not. If not, then it will load it. So one other way of loading class explicitly into memory is class.forName. Class has a method. Class is a, here this class is different. Okay, C is capital. C is capital. When I do class.forName and give the string containing the complete path of the package and class, com.mysql.jdbc.driver. See the first three words within the dots, what they are all small letters, and last one only starting with the capital letter. The reason being that is a class name, and before that it is package structure. Now this particular actually statement, there is a possibility that class it cannot find the class in the class path. So it is the checked exception, says class not found exception. Okay, and also some other exceptions I should be having. When I am trying to execute the database code, here there is there is a shortcut. You should always avoid do something like what I did. This is a bug. See here, I did a catch exception. So any type of exception that comes, I am doing a catch. And if you do this in application, and if there is a problem that something is not working, it will be very, very difficult to fix that particular thing. So ideally, you should be catching the particular exception that is applicable there. It can throw error print stand. So there is exception. There are different type of exceptions possible in this case. So that's the reason it actually minimum thing is I want to leave at least print stack and leave it. But ideally I think I do have a logger. So yeah, I must not be doing this print stack trace rather. Discard this statement for now. I will discuss this later, but I was just trying to I'll actually show you. I will actually explain this maybe sometime later when I'm going to explain this application that I built recently, a sample application, but I'll actually explain that later. Okay, so now let's go back to, now I tried to start actually with the inner classes and discuss about inner classes more. Okay, but then because we needed, I just thought it will be apt to discuss about Java archiving mechanism. Oh yeah, one more thing that I can explain about Java archiving mechanism. Let us look at, I'm actually right clicking it. So I select a file and I say there is something called file export. So then what I have is I can select a var file in this. Here you could see that what I'm trying to do. This is a web application that I have for my demo application. So it says browse. I give a path. So maybe I'll select desktop and say click save. And whether you want to export source files as well, I say no. Now it actually creates a particular, let me take you to the, where is my demo, yeah, it's here. Okay, so it is demo web.var. Okay, so what I could do is I could open this particular tool. I use any web compiling tool, sorry, the archiving tool like WinZip or WinRAR or 7-zip. You can pretty much unzip that and see what you have within that. Okay, so you can do export, regular as a jar file as well. I can select jar and see here jar. It can create, it will create jar file name. You can give a name, and when you give the name, okay, I think you need to give the path as well. You select the path, and okay, so I can click finish. It will create a jar file with the name. Okay, in Eclipse also you can do it. This does the same thing as whatever I did in the command prompt. It will do the same thing, but we don't need to really do that manually, and Eclipse can do that for us. Okay, now I'll close my hello.
Yeah, I can't see the screen. Is this me only or?
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I can't see the screen.
I think
From the beginning, or it stopped working now?
just a while
2
back.
minutes.
Okay, one second.
Right.
So I just declared an interface, and now I'll say what I will do is I'll go. Can you see my screen? If you observe any hanging or anything, please do let me know so that I'll stop recording and maybe you will continue. So first thing is maybe I have something called public. Oh yeah, within this public. Okay, I'll declare the main method first to create some clarity. Okay, there is a main method, or you can write any other method. Okay, now let us say class local inner class. Okay, now I'll say this, and if I can pretty much say public, the constructor part. There is a constructor, this empty constructor. You don't need to even write that, but I'll say like void do inner, say something, just say something. Some message. So I wrote a method. You can write any number of methods. Okay. Now let's assume that this is what is this? What did I do? I created I created a class within a class. Okay. So now within the class, I'll now just discard that inner class, whatever I wrote. I'll say suppose I'll write some method. Demo. Okay, I write something called something like this, and now see within the method I'm within the method called demo method inner, and here what I'm doing is class method inner. I'm creating a class called method inner. Okay. And here what I can do is write some method, say something at method. Okay. So now there is a class like this, and this is within a method. See here, I have a method called do method inners, and there I created a class. Now if I want to use this particular class, what I can do is method inner equal to new I can write that below. And see here I'm using like a regular class, but only catch is this is within the method I declared a class, and I'm trying to use that particular class by creating objects within the same method, and I cannot use this elsewhere. Suppose public void some oops. Okay, I try to create some other method, and within this method now let me try to see if I can access method. My class name is method inner, and it doesn't come here. You will not be able to access. Right? So now what I'm trying to but what we created is there is a local inner class. Is that method inner class is okay for you? Method inner class, whatever I displayed here, whatever I wrote a code here, is that okay for you? If I hear no response, then I treat that as okay. You understood. Okay. So this one, how I created a top level inner class, the class within a class. So I have a top container class, and this class is within that particular container class. So now let me create a class called local. So suppose inner, I can see here local inner class. So inner object equal to, I can pretty much, or for simplicity, I can say inner class demo equal to new, okay. And here I can say demo dot new and this. See the difference here, and the same thing can be, this is one way of doing it, but I'll also show you other way. New then the second line is also valid, and I need to change the object name. Okay, so when I am using a regular inner class, so the catch here is that when I have an inner class at the class level, then this is class level inner class at the, what is the name that I was talking about? Regular inner class, or just say inner class. Okay. So here what we do is, how we create object is that anywhere you can create object for it, not within the, need not be within the same class. Even outside that this class also you can create, provided you have public, that inner class is a public one. No, inner class cannot be public. Within the package you can use it. Okay, so you need to create the object of container containing class. So here I have demo is the container class is inner class that has local inner class. So my intention is to use local inner class. So first I create an object for, I have an object for the container class, and now that has dot, that object dot new local class. Here in this case I created object before, so to explain it in a different way, like as in the sample that I have shown you in the website, what I have is equal to, see here I am creating this container object also dynamically, in the sense when I require I say new inner class demo, it creates an inner class demo object. And on top of that newly created object, I can say dot new and your constructor of the inner class, right? So that's about. There are two things that I covered. I'll write the third one as well right away. Third one is static inner class. Okay. So what I can say is static class static inner. Okay. Now I'll say public void oops. Okay. So I just wrote a method within this class. So what I will do is I'll say something called static inner. Now I created a static class. See here, I created a static inner class. Okay, and how can I create object for it? Now, see here, static inner, static object equal to, now the difference will come. What happens is I can pretty much say new inner class demo dot static inner. See here, static inner. This is how I create object for static inner class. The difference is that for static you don't need to create an object for the container class, whereas for other regular inner class I need to create an object for the container class and object dot I need to do it. But the static difference is that the container class works like a package. How? Let me explain. If I have java dot util dot map equal to new java dot util dot as map. Okay. See here, this line, don't worry if you don't understand it, we will discuss collections separately, but I can always do a complete, give your complete package structure and class and create object. Okay. So to avoid import statements, otherwise the solution is you do a import statement on the top, after the package declaration before the class definition, before this. You can write import statements. We looked at the packages and how do we import and all earlier. So if I want to avoid that, I can actually explicitly use like this. So now here what I'm doing is I'm giving the package followed by dot class name. So here this also, you just compare this with the regular how we create objects specifying the packages. So package structure as well. So this is like the container project. The container class works like a package, works like a package for a static inner class. So with this, I did discuss about three things. One is static inner class, and other one is, first one, this is a inner class, regular inner class or inner class. Okay. So next is static inner class. You do not need to create object for containing class. Okay, and I wrote something here. This also I'll write some comment. This method has a inner class defined within it. Only this method can use the inner class defined within this method. Rest of the world doesn't know of this method level inner class. So there are three things covered. You have any specific doubts about this? Local inner class, method level inner class, static inner class. No doubts. Excellent. Now I will introduce you to another thing called the anonymous inner class. Anonymous inner class. Anonymous means without any name of the particular class. Anonymous. No. Is it correct? Oops. Please make the spelling. Okay, anonymous. N-Y. Stupid mistake. So suppose I now let us look at my interface here. I declared an interface here. So interface, my interface, and it says do something. Interface has a method. Now I want to build something for this interface and use it, and something like method level variable. Okay, method level inner class. Okay, and what I can do is, I see here new my interface. See here, I just did, when I do a new operator, what happens? When I use a new operator, what happens? Just to make sure that you are alert, I just ask simple questions. So, what happens when you use a new operator? How? Do you have anyone in the session? I do have, yeah. Yes. It creates an object. So what we need to, when it creates an object, okay, and see here, what is it? My interface. My interface is an interface, right? And can we really create an object for interface? Now this is another question. Anyone can answer. Can I create an object for interface? No, right?
No, we cannot.
We cannot. But see here, it allowed me to do new interface. And my interface, for your information, this is interface only explicitly. Okay? I mean, I can cheat by name. I can create a class with a name called my interface, and still I can use new operator. But in this case, it is a pure interface. There is no doubt about it. You have seen it. Now, what I am doing is, I am doing new interface, but then I am providing the implementation also directly. See here, I am writing that whatever method was there in the do something, I can write that method. Okay, so what actually is really happening is that this is equivalent of something like, this is equivalent of something like Okay, at the class level I try to do it. Public my implementation implements, so my interface not public. Okay, public means always when you say declare something as public, that should always be within the same. Okay, inside. What is the problem this has? Says delete the token. No. No, this is correct. And this is correct only. Okay, maybe I should implement this method. Delete this token.
I have a question here.
Yeah, please.
Why you are using colon here?
Here,
Yeah.
I'll talk about that.
Okay.
See, I need to use a keyword call class, right? Yeah. See here, what I did, I need to close one more. Okay. So this implementation, do you have any doubts with this? Class my implementation implements my interface. This is a regular class implementing that particular interface, right? Now, what I could do is I'll write a method. My implementation, right? My implementation IMPL equal to new, right? And also I can create L1 equal to new. I can create n number of objects, right? My implementation is at, and then I can call the do something method. Okay. Okay, it's time for me. I need to close. Okay, so if I look at these two things, okay, providing a concrete implementation is like this, and you can initiate any number of objects. Okay, so this is about regular interface logic. But now here what I am doing is, see here, my interface here in this case demo anonymous actually has new. I can pretty much write other lines as well. Creation. Okay, now what I can do is here, this is like a single statement. Okay, this complete thing is like a single statement. Okay, and something like system.out.println, at the end I am putting a semicolon. So here this is like a single statement, and at the end semicolon, because for every statement you end with a semicolon, right? So that is an answer to your question. And here what actually is happening is that I'm saying new interface and providing, see, I'm opening this curly brackets and providing implementation. That means that I'm defining, in this case, I'm defining an anonymous class, in the sense anonymous implementation for this implementation, for this interface, sorry, anonymous implementation for this interface, and writing the logic there. Now, I can only use new operator only once. Now, if I write this again, then that will be a different class. That will be a different class. Now, let me actually, and the beautiful thing with this anonymous classes stuff is that, let me show that here in the command prompt. Do I need to go there? No. Okay. What I need to, I can show you here as well. Let me go to the classes. classes. See here. Can you see my Eclipse? Okay. Hopefully you see it. If you don't see it, alert me. When we have been writing classes in the training sessions, I see the dot class files, base constructs dot class, calculator dot class in the bottom. Okay, calculator main dot class, math test dot class, new world dot class. But then when it comes to inner classes, see here what happened. Method inner class. See here inner class. There was one method inner class, right? Within the method, I have where is it? Yeah, method inner. See here. So how is the class file generated for this? It says inner class $1 method inner. Okay. Then I say one inner class demo $local inner class. That is a local inner class. Then inner class demo my implementation. This is an interface implementation. Inner class static inner. Okay. Now see, there is one thing called inner class demo $1 dot class. Inner class demo $1 dot class. That is nothing but the anonymous class related stuff. I can show how this. We can pretty much do this second time as well. I just do a copy paste and paste it here. Also here, formatting. And now let's go back and see this. See here, 2 dot class, right? So that's how the classes will be generated. This logic is important, that how your class name looks like, and when you see something like dollar, and class name dollar and 1 dot class or method, some other class dot class, then do not get surprised. That just means that that particular project uses inner classes. Clear? So here this is only about creating one particular object and providing, I would say that this is one way you say that only one object. No, for singleton, no. Okay, this is not the best example for singleton, but using this kind of approach as well, I can always create a singleton, but I'll delay that logic, for some time in the future. There are multiple ways I can create singleton, and I can use anonymous approach as well. Now,
I have a question.
Yeah, please.
Here, at class level, you created one class, my implementation, right?
Yeah. Right.
Is
Yes.
that inner class?
This is actually inner class, but yes. Why I was trying to explain this, I added this. I already have another inner class at the class level, right?
Yes.
I have class level inner class, local inner class. See here.
Local inner class.
Yeah. This and this are parallels, and there is no that is only for to explain anonymous inner class. I was actually showing you regular how you implement a class interface. Sorry, how you implement an interface and create an object for it. So this particular thing is just to explain my anonymous class here on the top. When I see here new this stuff, just to explain, if I don't use anonymous inner class, this is how I would be doing. Okay, just for a comparative study, or I can pretty much, comment this, because this is not a topic this is not a new topic. Okay, so now maybe my code is better. Now here in the demo anonymous method, I am creating interface implementation and an object. Here I'm actually if you should understand this particular point. That is where many people go wrong. What happens is that I'm actually defining a class as well as creating an object at the same time. I'm using new operator, so I'm creating an object, but at the same time I'm defining class as class implementation as well, and there is no name here. It says generally for class name, and that implement this in the bottom I have shown you class my implementation implements my interface, right? So you always have a keyword called class. Now in this case, and also the name. Say if in the bottom, when you are creating a class, the rule that we learned so far is that you use a class keyword followed by class name, and then if it is implementing an interface, you provide implements and interface name, and you can even implement multiple interfaces, right? In this case, if I am looking at this, I am not writing there is no class keyword, okay, and there is no name as well, because I did not use the class keyword, so the name also is skipped. And rather there is no name for it, and but still I am providing implementation. So this is called anonymous inner class. Why? Because there is an object created directly, okay, and there is no name for this class. Okay, object creation and object definition, class definition, object creation as well as class definition, they fall into same thing. At the same time you do it. So for this particular class, when I am using it, it will be directly called, and this method will be invoked. This actually we will when if we are doing swings applications, Java swings or JFC, Java foundation classes, if you are building JFC classes, then you have this inner classes. Many times we use anonymous inner classes. Okay, so just practice this. What I will do is I'll try to comment this code and I'll give you the link right away. So
hello, Aruna.
Yes.
I have a
Hello?
quick question on creating a package. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Tell me.
If you are using Eclipse
Yeah.
to create maybe a package, you go to File, New.
One moment.
You click,
File, New. Yeah, tell me.
and you go to Project.
Okay, project. Okay, let me go to project.
Project.
Which one? Java project?
Yeah, it's something like if you want to create a class.
You want to create a
I know that
class,
you go
right?
To, yes.
Yeah, I create. First, what we do is one sec. I'll close this particular thing. I'll actually I'll close this. Then I want to create. You want to create a new project, right? You want to create Java code.
Yeah.
So file, new, and if you see Java project here in this list, it is pretty much fine. Click that. I don't see that, so I'll create something called I click here. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So then.
So what about if you want to create a class? So this is the project name.
Right. Yes. Right. Yeah, I understood your question. Generally, Eclipse has a container that's called project. First, you create a project, and within the project, you can create classes. Okay. So I click
So
here.
go ahead.
Okay. Then what I can do is right click on this project. Okay. Then you do a new class. See here.
Yes.
You have to right click on the right click on the project. See here in the navigator or even explorer. Either ways it is same.
Yeah.
Do a new. Then you will get the class option here. So to create a class in Eclipse, you generally need to have a container. First you need to create a project and then create classes. Okay.
Okay. I've created the project, but whenever I create a class, I have double classes.
Double classes?
Yeah, I have one. Yeah, I have one with J, and I have one with J subscript 010.
One second. What I will do is, fine. For rest of the people, you can drop off. If we are done with the inner classes, I'll just clarify this particular doubt. I'll make him presenter and work with it. If you want, you can skip. You can